Alright, my friends, back at us today here at VetteSource, where we're going to continue working on our abandoned 40th anniversary project car that is deceptively low miles, but looks like it's been dropped at the bottom of the ocean, of course, until you get inside of it and see how good it looks. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and replace this instrument cluster, because if you've been with me for a while and you've seen some of my other videos on this car, and if you've not, there's a playlist up at the top of the screen there. You can see where I found this car and what we've been doing to it. What we're going to do is this cluster has been giving us trouble since we've had it. More than likely it's the circuit board is separated on the electronic portion of the cluster. So we're going to go ahead and swap it with this other cluster I have here in stock. So let's go ahead and show you how to get to this. Now, the one thing about this is this cluster is pretty tightly contained inside of here. It's not readily apparent how it comes out. So what we have to do is kind of remove things around from the bottom up coming into this, so we can get to the structure, get the steering column out of the way. But we're going to start is kind of backwards. We're going to go ahead and take our seat out here, so we get the seat out of the way, and then you'll see as I go along why I'm doing some of this stuff. So let me mount the camera here. I'm going to use our handy parking brake to get a good grasp here, and hopefully I'm always finding myself checking to make sure that our camera's still working, because I just don't trust this GoPro. And we'll see where we're at here. Alright, so we're there in the position we need to be. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and take this seat out real quick. Now, I've done this before in a previous video, so I'm not going to get into specifics. I'll leave that link at the top there if you want to see that video before. And we'll go ahead, take this out real quick, get the seat out. I'll adjust our camera down just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. If you don't feel like you want to click on the link. And in just a moment, I'll explain why we're removing the seat to take the dash cluster out. Okay, oops. And you can actually see those bolts are fitted in there with blue Loctite, so they won't come out. Alright, now we can get the seat out of our way. What do I feel like? Oh yeah, I still have something connected there. I forgot about, let's see, right there. Boy, those connectors do not want to come out of there. Okay, all right. Way easier said than done. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and put this here, and You'll see why in a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead. We're gonna work on getting this piece out of here first, our lower hush panel. Now in GM's infinite wisdom, there are two different types of fasteners here. There's two T15 Torx, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 millimeter head fasteners. So they did a pretty good job at hiding these. So the trick is to get them out so that we don't break this as we take it out of here. And you can see here there's that T15 that I talked about. And now that we have this car running pretty decently for right now, we have a few nagging issues we need to handle with the ASR, ABS, and brake system, which actually the brakes are working really well on it. But I want to go ahead and diagnose the ABS system, ASR, so I make sure we don't have any unsafe situations coming up. But I've thought a lot about what we do with this car, because again, it is a pretty much brand new car with only 27,000 miles on it. Runs really well now that I've been running it more and taking it up and down the street just to kind of test it. And I think what we're gonna do is just turn this into a daily beater. I'm not going to bother. There's going to be a few things I'll do to clean up the paint on this to as much as I can, to the limits that we have in front of us here. But there's no reason not to keep this in its as found condition, since it was stored improperly in such a way that managed to preserve the interior but destroyed the paint on the car. Did not destroy the mechanical, because again, if you know C4s, the mechanical on these cars is very well put together. Even back from the early 80s, these were quite mechanically dependable. It was just as they got into more electronics, things have become kind of troublesome, I will say. But I think for now, rather than obsess over perfect paint and everything else, we're just gonna drive it and enjoy it. Excuse me, I'm trying to get the right spot in here. Get this one out of here. And have some fun with it. In fact, the AC actually still has a charge in this car, believe it or not, after sitting for so many years. So I will juice up the system a little bit, and I will teach the last family member in my house that I haven't taught how to drive a standard yet, and they will learn. So what we do is we get that down, and as long as I didn't miss a bolt, I don't think I did though. And that cover will come down. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. Now, one thing I do have to do is disconnect the ALDL connector from here. Alright, that one's out. That's going to be the short 7mm, and we will need to take out this, which is always a booger to get out without breaking it, because it's just in a bad spot. Let me see. You can't really see much on it. Let's see, where's my pick? This would be your courtesy light right here. There we go. And then, see that little clip right there? And then we just pull on the other side as well. There we go. That's out of there. Alright, now that we have this out of the way, okay, we're going to have to remove this panel right here, this metal panel. Let me grab my 10mm for this. And these 10mm bolts are on the side here, right here. So there's going to be two here. And there will be two more on this side. These are a little bit tougher to get to. Let's see if I can get this in here. Hang on, let me get my universal joint. Okay. Luckily for now, so we have this panel supposedly out. What you'll find on these is that sometimes the fit is very tight in here. All right, now let's go ahead and remove, just making sure our camera's still working, because with a GoPro you can't really tell. We're going to remove this inner bezel right here. There's 4 bolts here. There's one on the opposite side right here. And there is the third one here at this top corner way up here. I'm losing my mount there. Make sure you guys are seeing this. There's one right here. And your shorty Phillips will get this one out. These can be rather tight in here. And this one may not even want to come out. Let's see. Nope, as usual, that one's stuck. So let me work on this for a second. I'll be right back. All right, we are back here now where we have our cluster with proper bulbs in it now. This is our other cluster that we decided to put in here, and you can see also that this cluster actually has better more orange lines. The other lines on the other one were damaged by the sun, even though it was low mileage. So this one actually is a nicer. And what I did is I transferred this the clear bezel over with our analog gauge sticker from the factory on there. And you can see looking through here, what I also did was I went ahead and put a sunshade up because the sun glare was killing us here. So this is the actual connector for the cluster, and they make it very easy. It's one of the few things that is easy on these cars, is once you slide this into place, right, and put that in there, it seats itself in, and that's it. That's how hard that was to get in there. It was very easy. So let's go ahead. We're gonna put our fasteners in. And we'll put our steering column back up, and then we'll fire the car up and make sure that this cluster works correctly before we button the whole thing back up. And let me get in this corner here. This one's kind of tough to get to. Stand by for a second. Yeah, this one's a pickle to get to. And it's too easy to drop the fasteners. And have the unsecured sunshade blow all over the place. Let's see here. There we go. There's that one. And our last fastener right here, where we have a little bit more room to work with. Okay. Alright, that looks pretty nice. Now, let me go and hook the battery up and we'll check this real quick. Okay, we got our battery hooked up. Let's take a look and see what it does here for us. So, let's turn our key forward. And there we go. We have a good cluster. So, that works out very well. Oil pressure coming up. Oil temperature. Coolant temperature gauges. Let's see. Battery voltage where it's supposed to be. I have this connected to the steering column. That's why the camera's moving around just a little bit. Alright, roll temperature. The DSC needs a little work maybe. 3 volts. Alright. Speedometer. Okay. Alright, fuel info. what we're gonna do real quick is I'm gonna just continue to sit right here, and let's go ahead, put this piece back in. For some reason, these are not coming out of the housing. I don't recall these especially being captive, but for now I'm just going to leave them alone. And I actually lost my nut plate on another one. It fell out, so I'm going to have to reach around for that later. Alright, let's see if we can get these started. There we go. Alright. That one is not there. Let me see if I can find my other. I'm gonna have to bring the oh no, I made a mistake, guys. Wait, no I didn't. Oh yeah. Let me see. There we go. There's my other two screws. Alright, let's go ahead and bring this forward. So the camera's gonna move around a little bit as I bring this up. This was much easier coming down. Alright, so let me make some course corrections, so hang tight just a second. Okay, that was an ordeal. So for whatever reason, it decided it was not going to go past there without me taking the tilt lever out of here first, even though I got it out of there the first time. So let's go ahead and put our screws back in to secure this outer trim bezel. Sometimes it works with you, sometimes it just doesn't want to work with you. It just depends on how it's feeling. And we're going to put our tilt lever. Now the tilt lever actually has a notch, just in case you end up having to take this out of here. See that little notch built into it? This is a 7/32 wrench that you can use to get that out of there if you're deciding to replace your cluster. Because if you try to use a pair of pliers, it will work, but you will gall the shaft of the tilt mechanism lever and make it look all ugly. So it's just one thing to check out. Make sure you're doing right. We're going to put this bolt and the screw in on this side. And then while I was off camera, I went ahead and got my helper out here to have me hold the steering column up above my head because I couldn't get the 15mm bolts threaded back in there to get that started. So we've got these to do right here. And there's our other one. Steering column's back in place where we need it. And let's see here. We will go ahead and set this one in its proper place. This one is, why are my bolts? Oh, there they are. They're attached to my light. Maybe those aren't. Let me see. Oh, okay. surprisingly windy for late April around here. By now we're usually getting the taste of the blast furnace. But we got a reprieve this weekend. It's really good. So anyway, to continue my discussion on why I'm going to make this a daily beater, the truth is this car would require much more time and labor to get it back into, and I'm tightening these bolts on this kick panel here, into prima donna state. And the truth is, it rides really good, so I'm just gonna let it go like this and have fun with it. I think it's gonna be much better off that way than if I tried to fall down the rabbit hole to make this thing look as pretty as it could. Now I will go ahead, we've got a few more videos in us as far as making sure, seeing if we can get the paint to polish, making sure it's safe for driving, getting the air conditioning back up again, that kind of stuff. So get a full charge on it since it still has some. And I'm sure that what it'll do in typical fashion of a car that's been sitting for a while and not being exercised, it will show us some things that need to break on it, and we'll fix those as it comes along. So that'll do it. But let me wrap things up here real quick and I'll be right back with you and we'll get this squared away. All right, well, that was an ordeal. So we got that panel back on there, and those two tight bolts in that corner. I'm gonna go ahead and put this kick panel back on off camera just to end my suffering here. But you can see everything's back together, everything's working real well. So essentially, that is what you've got to do to get the dash cluster in and out of these late, and not late, but mid to late 90 through 96 C4 Corvettes. And that's gonna wrap things up today. I appreciate everybody watching, and I'll be back with you guys soon for some other fun projects that we're working on here at the channel. Talk to you guys then. Thanks a lot.